everyone, Thomas here and welcome back to another video. So today I'm back here for another speed build, and today we're going to go ahead and create this one called Springwell Manor. So if you'd like to go ahead and download this for yourself, it is up on the gallery now. My origin ID is RealThomasTV1. So this is another one of my mansion builds. If you don't know, every single Sunday here on my channel we'll do a 64 by 64 lot mansion build, and here we are for another one today. So this build came in at 224,188 simoleons. It has 5 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms, and I built it on the 64 by 64 lot in Brindleton Bay. And it took me about 2.5 hours to build. Now that's actually a little bit longer than normal. I mean, only by like half an hour or so, which doesn't really sound a lot. But it did feel like it took me so much longer to do this one. But I'm still really happy with the end result. And you know, 2 hours in a bit isn't that long at all anyway for a mansion build like this. So I'm still pretty happy with it. And yeah, so I will leave a card on screen now if I remember to the mansion builds playlist if you want to go ahead and see all the other ones that we've done so far. Sometimes I do them on 50 by 50s. I mean, it still is classed as mansion, at least I think so. It just really depends on what I'm going for. Sometimes this kind of area of Brindleton Bay isn't always the right fit for the type of themed house I want to do. So you know, sometimes I have to change things up, but this is kind of the one where I normally build. And yeah, so, what was I about to mention? Well, I'm actually pre-recording this a little bit. I'm recording this voiceover on the 17th. I think this is going up, hang on, let me just check, on the 22nd, because I'm pre-recording a little bit because I'm going away on a little vacation for a week, just up to Scotland. We normally go up there most years we go up to Scotland, for like a week or so that's what we're doing this year, and so I'm kind of just, you know, trying to get ahead of myself, and I need to kind of get this week's videos done first and then pre-record next week's. So by the time you see this video, I think I'll be away. But yeah, so that's what's happening. And then as soon as I get back, I've got my uncle's wedding to go to on the Monday, which is the 30th, so that'll be happening then. So I've got to pre-record for the next few days as well. But yeah, so this is, like I said, well, I didn't really say actually, this is a family home style. It does have 5 bedrooms, like I said. I did actually do a master bedroom, a kids room, a teens room, a twin toddler room, and also a kind of spare or guest room. So it's for a big family, about 7-8 sims this will fit. So you know, if you have a big family playing, this might be a good one to take a look at. We've kind of got like a separate garage area over there on the left, as you can see. In there, kind of just put some random things like, you know, some skill building items, some kind of musical instruments like the DJ table, the little keyboard, and some guitars and stuff like that. So just some random things which you'll normally find in a garage. And I know some people pronounce garage differently. It was actually funny because I was just watching my friend Christian Marie XO, one of her videos, and she was literally talking about that same thing about how people pronounce garage differently. And it just depends where you're from, really. I know in the US, I think people pronounce it like garage or something like that, but in the UK we say it like garage, so yeah. Anyway, so we're working on the landscaping here, as you can see. I did actually include quite a bit of footage than I normally do for landscaping. I felt like the most, well, I don't really know how to word that actually. It's like, oh my god, I really can't word it. So like the biggest part of this build, I suppose, on the main part of it that I really wanted to focus on was the landscaping, and it's the most kind of oh my god, I literally cannot speak today. It's the most significant part of the build, I would say, and that's kind of what takes up most of the room. That's also another kind of little cheat sort of tip I've got for anybody who wants to do mansion builds like on like a 64 by 64, but you don't want to spend so much time on it. Well, make the house portion of it like a little bit smaller, and then kind of focus a lot more on the exterior, like the landscaping, outdoor activities, furnishing, that sort of stuff. So that's what I do. And that's kind of making the build time a little bit smaller. It still is oh god, I can't speak again. It is still classed as a mansion build at the end of the day. But it's also landscaping. It's one of my favourite things I like to do for building. So it kind of works out well for me anyway, that I kind of spend more time on the landscaping than I do in the home. But also, when it's a smaller home like this, I always notice I put a lot more detail into it, like clutter and all those tiny little details which I may not have been able to include in the past in bigger mansion builds because I literally be there all day. So yeah, in the past I used to do huge big mansions, and just because like my idea of a mansion being on a 64 by 64 lot, like I would build like 12 bedrooms, which is absolutely ridiculous, and it would take me just so much longer to do, and that meant that I kind of had to spread like my effort, if that makes sense, around the home, so I couldn't really put as much detail into different areas. I mean, I could have if I put a lot more time into it, but you know, when I used to do that, that was back when I was still in college, so I didn't really have that much time, or you know, less time than now. So yeah, so it's kind of nicer to do it this way. I think it just works out better. But yeah, so right now we're just working on this pool area, as you can see. It is a little bit more kind of decorated, if that makes sense. It's got a lot more kind of you know, water fountains, pool decorations, that sort of thing around it than I normally do. I normally make the pools pretty big, and you may have seen at the beginning it was kind of on like the right side of the house, the pool. It was really big, but actually kind of when I got into the landscaping and doing the, you know, the exterior, like finishing the backyard and stuff, I just kind of changed things up a little bit, and I really liked how that looked and just thought it was something a little bit different. So you can see here we're putting some ivy on the build. Now, I don't normally include ivy that much. I used to all the time, and because I felt like the house would look too bare if I didn't have any ivy on it. Well, now I'm kind of like going away from it a little bit, because I think that sometimes it kind of look a little bit tacky in a way. I don't really know how to explain it. So ivy's like one of those things that you just have to get right for it to look good. Like, it's like you have to get a really particular way, and it's just kind of difficult sometimes, so sometimes I just leave that out. You can see here we're putting like a fire pit in the back garden. I know that that fire pit isn't the one that's supposed to have seats with, it's like the standing one. Well, is that the right word? I don't really know. Probably you know what I mean. So it's not really, it doesn't, the seats don't clip to it because it's not supposed to have seats on it. It's like more of a bonfire sort of thing. But I couldn't really put the smaller one there because it looked ridiculously small, so I had to put that one there. But I also wanted seats around it, which, you know, you can still sit there. Your Sims are not going to catch on fire, I don't think. So, I mean, I think so. So, you know, you can remove them if you want to. So I know, well, I just wanted to say a big thank you actually for all the support I've been getting, so like in the past couple of weeks on these mansion builds. Everybody just seems to really love them, and it's something that is kind of really popular on my channel at the minute, is my weekly mansion build. So just want to say thank you everybody for that, and the support and feedback I've had on it. And I've actually been thinking that I may actually introduce a second episode of this per week. Now, it's going to be way more of a workload for me as well, so I'm still really deciding on what I'm going to do with it, because, you know, one, it's a good because it's something that you like to see, so I'm kind of, you know, going with requests and things that, you know, just what you want to see, just, you know, doing builds like that. But also, it's kind of more rewarding for me, because when I do these builds, I'm always just so proud of them when I'm finished, because it's such a big, you know, workload and stuff. And also, as well, on the other hand, it's like such a big workload for me, and I'm like, well, one thing that I have with these mansion builds is that every week I kind of sometimes struggle a lot with themes, and in the past some of the mansion builds kind of looked a little bit similar, had similar themes to them, were kind of replicated a little bit in terms of the themes, so it's kind of hard every week to kind of think of so many different ideas, and I'm kind of worried if I introduce two mansion builds each week, then I'm going to kind of end up running out of ideas even sooner, and then you'll kind of start to see some similarities, which I don't want to happen. So I'm kind of a little bit, you know, I don't really know what to do. Let me know if you have any thoughts about that in the comments section. It'd be really helpful. And yeah, so the other thing I want to mention as well is if you have any more mansion themes, kind of going back to what we were just saying, if you have any more ideas, then please let me know. I mention this in nearly every single video because it's such like a really important thing for me to kind of do new content every day. Well, not every day, 4 times a week when I upload. So if you have any ideas, feel free to just send absolutely anything you have. If it's a floor plan, if it's an exterior picture of a front of a house, a back of a house, a particular room that you kind of have inspiration from, I could maybe, you know, make a house from it or something. Absolutely anything at all, even if it's just like a written idea or a picture, whatever, send me them. Absolutely anything. You can do that. Probably the best place to do it, and I always say this, is on my email, which is contact.thomastv@gmail.com. And that's because I get less emails than I do other types of mentions and, you know, replies and stuff like that, so it's just easier to keep track of everything. But you could also send me them as a Twitter DM if you want. My DMs are open publicly, so feel free to send everything there, or even just a Twitter mention if you don't want to kind of, you know, do one of those things, you just want to make it easy, feel free to do that. You know, most of the time I will say it, it's just the chance of it that I might not, but yeah. Anyway, so we're building this little, well, I kind of haven't talked about the build for a few minutes now, but we kind of worked on the kitchen and the dining room, and we're now working on the downstairs office area. Now, with the dining room, I actually use a different table. It was the one from the backyard stuff pack. I don't know what came over me to use that, but I always, like, stick to the same dining tables every single time I do a house build, so I just want to kind of switch it up a little bit. So we used the backyard stuffed table and the laundry day kind of wicker chairs. And then at that point, I wasn't planning on doing a toddler room. So when we go to do the toddler room later, I do go back and add a toddler seat to that, to the, why can't I think the word, the dining table. I don't know why I think it, like, forget about words I've literally just mentioned less than 20 seconds ago. But yeah, so we'll go back and do that shortly. I don't know if I'm including the footage, but I do that. And this is a laundry room, as you can see. The laundry rooms always turn out really big, actually, for my mansion builds. But I mean, you know, it's a mansion build, so you're going to kind of expect things to be a little bit bigger scale. But yeah, so there was one other thing I wanted to mention. I always kind of have I always used to do this, where I kind of have a list of things for like longer voiceovers, which I want to kind of talk about. And I kind of used to make like a little list thing, like on a like post-it note, because it's a good idea, because, you know, you can easily forget about things if, you know, another thought pops into your head and stuff, and you want to kind of talk about a range of different things. So that's what I used to do, but I kind of just stopped doing it, and I just kind of talked about, you know, the things on the spot. So always ends up happening is I always kind of forget what I was going to mention. So actually, just remember now, I'm just talking about that. So when I was actually, I had a really hard time trying to take the screenshots for this build. I'm going to insert a picture in a second. But what I was actually having is that with seasons, and I think a lot of builders may have this problem, is where you're trying to get the perfect lighting for a screenshot for the build, but like the weather's always horrible. It's either cloudy or it's raining, and then you try to use the weather cheats or the weather machine to try and get it right. Well, honestly, it was probably about 20 minutes. I was getting so frustrated trying to get the lighting right for this build and trying to get the weather changed. So I had my sim moved in here. I was trying to get it with the weather machine because the cheats wouldn't work for some reason. Trying to get it, change it to, you know, sunny and kind of clear skies. And then I wanted to kind of upload it to the gallery, and it kind of just looked a little bit tacky. I don't know why, but the background just looks so plain. I kind of wanted some clouds. So what I was planning on doing is maybe trying to like change it back to cloudy skies, but then kind of like pausing it before it fully goes cloudy, if that makes sense. So some kind of like texture in the sky for me to take the screenshot with, if that makes sense. But that didn't really work anyway. So it was just a waste of time. And with the weather machine, this never really happens. Maybe once or twice the sim will get like electrocuted with it and they get like the dazed emotion thing. Well, that happened like all the time. And then it kind of went wrong and a thunderstorm happened. Like all of a sudden it was clear skies, and then all of a sudden, like within a second, it went black and it was just rain and everything. And I paused, and 3 lightning bolts came down at the very same time, and I paused at when that happened. I'll insert a screenshot of it now of when that happened, and you can kind of see how crazy it looks. I kind of wanted to use it for the thumbnail because it just looks so crazy, but I was like, the lighting's too dark, it won't really work. But I thought I'll kind of include that anyway to show you, because it was such a odd event, and that's never happened before. So that's what happened. And then also my sim then died because she went outside to change the weather again, and then the lightning was still going, so she got struck by a lightning bolt, and there we go. And then the game went over, like it said game over, because I only had one sim in the household. So then I had to go back to manage worlds, move in a new sim, and then it wouldn't let me put them in because it said the furnished option. It wouldn't let me click on you know how it says you can move in a sim unfurnished, furnished, or bulldoze lot. Well, the furnished one wouldn't let me do it, and I kind of panicked for a second because I thought that all of the finishing would be gone because that sim moved, like deleted or something. I have no idea. It all turned out alright in the end. That was such a like frustrating but also really weird and kind of funny event that all happened at the same time. So yeah, I just thought I'd tell you about that. Anyway, so we're nearing the end of the build here, as you can see. We've done the toddler room, we've done the master bedroom, which is the purpley one. This is the kids room. Kind of just cluttering it up a little bit. For a lot of my mansion builds and just house builds in general, actually, I do try to keep the colour schemes fairly neutral. I mean, sometimes, you know, like the parents' room, I made that purple, but a lot of the time, not every time, but you know, most times, I do try to keep the bedrooms neutral colours. So it just really depends on what type of sim you're going to move in, and then you can kind of change the colour schemes up to match that particular sim and what their interests are, whatever, you know, that sort of thing. So I do try to keep them fairly neutral, but it's also nice for me sometimes to try new things. But with the kids room and the toddler room, I did try to keep it fairly neutral. And you know, some pops of colour that here and there. This room right here, I'm not really too sure because I've got this room and one other room left to do, and they're kind of both similar. They're just slightly different tones of colours used in them. They've both got easels in them, so I was kind of planning on making one like an artist, like a teen that's in art and stuff, and that was going to be one of their bedrooms. But I ended up doing an easel on both rooms, so I'm not really too sure. Maybe if you have a guest over, that's something for them to do or something. I don't really know. But yeah, so this is the last room here, and you can see that we're doing this little thing where we're putting like console table sort of thing as a headboard. And I actually saw my friend like mentioned at the start, Christian React, so I think it was her speed build at least. I'm not like 100% sure. But she kind of did this thing where she put this thing like the console table behind the bed. I thought it was a really nice idea because I've seen that before in real life and I've done it before in my speed build videos. But I've never used that particular console table and I just thought it looked really nice. So I want to go ahead and try that out. But yeah, so we're actually at the end of the build here. I really hope you enjoyed. I've just got a tiny bit of footage for the garage. It literally was the most boring room ever, but there is a screenshot of it at the end anyway. So yeah, I really hope you enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like, comment, share, and subscribe if you haven't. Also, just want to mention that the lighting there, because this room is on a diagonal and there's counters in it, there's this really weird lighting glitch as you can see. So I'm really sorry about that on the counters, but hopefully there'll be a fix for that at some point. Or it might just be the particular lot. Maybe once you place it down, it might, you know, fix it. I don't really know. Anyway, so I really hope you enjoyed, and make sure you go ahead and download this from the Sims 4 gallery. My origin ID is Real Thomas TV1, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.